Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode, our first really kind of far apart episode of Culture Church. We appreciate you guys coming in. We also want to give a shout out to A2D for having us and setting this up because honestly, without them, we don't know if we would be able to make this possible. So thank you. And although we're not all together, with me always is Adam Holland and Denari Beard. What's up, boys?
What's up, Juge? How's it? What are you doing?
What's up, bro? What's up, man? I miss you already, bro. Even though I feel like you're right here, I still feel like you're far apart. So, but no,
I know, bro. I miss y'all already, but no, it's been good. I threw my first live today. Felt good, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited. So hopefully we'll get in some games soon.
That's good, bro. That's really good, bro.
Yeah, but also we want to shout out to Liz too for kicking off of season 2, episode 1 off to a fire start. We want to thank her for kicking it off. Also, shout out to everyone who's been supporting us so well for the season 2. Also, if you not watch our latest YouTube channel, please like and subscribe on our latest YouTube channel right below at Culture Church Podcast.
And if you haven't already liked and subscribed to our YouTube, please go to our Instagram. Also, right below Culture Church Podcast, same username, everything like that. We definitely are appreciative of all the likes, support, everybody that is tuned in to A2D, as well as our prior location where we're at. So we're just trying to keep it bigger and better, and we definitely appreciate all the love and support. But we would be truly, and I mean truly, remiss if we didn't point out the elephant in the room. This month of February is Black History Month. And obviously, as you can see, definitely round of applause.
Clap again.
Yeah, there you go. Now, obviously, as you can see, something that we've always, carried with us, especially obviously me and DB, but Chooch as well, being our best friends, we would not be where we were at without understanding and identifying, who we are as young Black men. Obviously, Chooch as being, one of our best friends, being a supporter and ally, something that we hold near and dear to our heart. And we hope that, obviously our followers, our supporters, our friends like there think like-minded and take the time to really kind of just think about, how important Black culture has been, how important Black history has been, because in reality, Black history is American history. So I just want to make sure that, we took the time out priorhand to let everybody know that. And, we hope that, you guys have a wonderful Black History Month, and obviously hope you celebrate prior and bigger than this month alone.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's and definitely, I'm glad you said that too, because the one thing that I've come to know, especially being close with you guys, is that the one thing that I really know is that I'll never know. I'll never know what it's like to be in y'all's shoes. I'll never know what that's, no matter how much time I spend with you. But what does that do? That gives me the opportunity to learn. And I learned so much from you guys, so much through the history of Black culture and how much of an impact it has on society today. So, I mean, I think it's just something that some people need to kind of open their eyes to a little bit, is just we're never going to know. So why don't we try and learn?
That's a great point, bro. That's definitely deep. And I know
we kicked it off good today, boys. Come on now.
So right now, I'm actually about to play a quick little video from my niece. She made this video, a little 2-minute video. We'll probably talk over it, but she made this video in her class for high school. She's a junior now. Shout out to my niece Milan. She's so talented.
Shout out to Milan.
I hope you guys enjoy the video while we kind of talk over it a little bit. All right.
Shout out to Milan for us, a dope video, guys.
So in reality, obviously a lot of these pictures you're about to see, you definitely probably pretty familiar with them. Obviously you'll see a lot of them about Martin Luther King and kind of his journey and about how, he stood up for, civil rights, American activism, stuff like that. But, I think it's truly crazy to believe how far we definitely have come, but as well as how far we still need to go, how much longer the journey there really is. And, a lot of these pictures may seem old and new because they're in black and white, but in reality, that's only in 1960. Some of these are 1950s, 1960s. My father was born in 1957. So he was alive, well, conscious of everything going on in the world, everything that was happening, in Selma, everything that was happening in Washington, D.C., everything that was happening in, the southern states like that. So it's really not too far removed from history. But I definitely wanted to play this video at the very beginning of the episode just so everybody understands, the significance, the impact, and the cultural, importance to us and, a lot of what we do here.
And then, the biggest thing also too is just remembering our history too, because, in today's future, a lot of people try to shy away from what our history was, right? So I think it's important to not only this month, but every month to really just look about the history and think about this is America's history right here. And this is not something we can shy away from. We have to actually embrace into. So I think this is actually a really big, important video just because of just the importance of how far we got, how far we came, but we still have a lot of way to go too. So it's just a very important video. Shout out to Milan. Like I said, this video is so dope. And just seeing it's like the black and white contrasting with the kids today now, it's amazing. So, I mean, it shows a lot just how far, once again, how far we came and how far from segregation to now, and look at how the changes became, and look at the future we're going to start as well too.
Great words, boys. So as we're wrapping that up, I think it's about time that Adam, you want to bring in a guest that's near and dear to your heart?
I am truly ecstatic. I'm truly honored to have one of my closest friends who I grew up with playing Little League baseball, Little League football, from the car rides to the sleepovers. And someone, we're talking about Black History Month, but somebody that is making history right now in the NFL, someone who is Black, African-American, someone who is a faith man driven, someone who is about his family, about his work. I'm super excited to have on three-time Super Bowl winning champion from the Kansas City Chiefs, Dan Williams, man.
Yes, sir.
Everybody give it. Come on, man.
Hey man, I appreciate you guys having me on. Adam, when you called me last week and asked me to come on, man, I knew it was a done deal, bro. You guys have been doing such great work on this podcast that I had to hop on with you guys.
Oh man, Dan, we are so glad to have you, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you guys for inviting me, man. This is a pleasure. I think what you guys are doing out in the community right now is something that is second to none. And I think that for all of you guys, Chooch, DB, Adam, yourself, I think you guys are role models growing up to the next generation. And I think just keep doing what you guys are doing, man.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you,
Dan. Also, we want to congratulate you on this Super Bowl winning back-to-back Super Bowl champs.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
Can you just tell the audience a little bit about insight of how does it feel to be at the top for once again and back-to-back?
Yeah, I think going into this year, we had the goal in mind to get back-to-back. But when you reach that pinnacle once, you don't want to lose it again. And I think having that taste in our mouths from the Tampa Bay Super Bowl, where things didn't go our way and we were that close to getting back-to-back, I think you recognized how hard it is to get there, but just how special it is to do it again. So coming back this year with this group of guys, it wasn't easy by any means, but I think the guys stuck together, and I think that's what made it so special at the end of the year, being able to hoist that trophy for back-to-back opportunities and being our third title in 5 years is just something that we obviously wanted, but to be able to do it and to be able to capture that moment with your guys is something very special.
Wow. Dan, that is awesome, man.
3 and 5.
Yeah, we've all been following you like through Adam since like when you first started with the Chiefs and all, and we are so excited for you. And although one of them had to come against the Eagles, we'll let that slide because you came on the pod. We'll let it slide just because you came on the pod. But I do want to know, you know how like in sports, emotions can affect how much we care about like certain things, sometimes more than others, and we usually need to control our emotions. But sometimes there are certain games that mean a little more to us than others. Is there one of those a ring? Is there a ring that means a little more to you than the rest?
Yeah, definitely this one. I mean, with the way things got in November and early December there, where it seemed like the outside world lost faith in who the Kansas City Chiefs were. And I think the way our guys responded, I think, is what made this run so special, because it wasn't easy. We lost 4 or 6, lost at home on Christmas Day, had to go on the road in the playoffs. And I think you go through that journey together, and I think that's what makes this one so special. Yes, the first 2, we had a bye, we had home playoff games, but I think going on the road and being able to do it at someone else's house is what really special to me on this one.
Ooh, that's awesome, man. And so another question I have for you, obviously DB's the football player of the group.
Right.
I love watching, man. I love learning from him, but I don't know all the intricacies. So could you tell us a little bit more about like what your responsibilities and your job is as an offensive quality control coach? Like, absolutely. Just like dive in. Tell me all about it.
So quality control for me on the offensive side is I draw the pictures for the playbook. And I do all the PowerPoints during the week. So whatever we install to the guys in the morning, going over the base game plan or third down or red zone, it comes through me. So like I'm doing the pictures in the PowerPoint. And then on top of that, really like the quality control aspect of it is like if there's any little thing that we can do better as far as like, hey, putting a guy in a different spot or adjusting a concept to make the routes look more similar this way so it matches up with some of our other things that we do. Those are little things that I can help bring to like Coach Nagy or Coach Reed and say, hey, this might be a little change, a subtle change we can make that'll make this play that much better. So that's what the quality control entails. And then on game day, I'm in the booth charting everything that we do from what formation we're in, what play we run, and then what the defense does. So that way, if we come back to a same formation later in the game, I can give us a heads up and say, hey, we got this coverage last time, or we got this front, and we can have an idea of how we should probably attack going forward.
No, that's super dope because, like I said, obviously DB's a football guy, so he knows probably everything you just said right there. But even me knowing prior to these two knowing, I still didn't know what you did until right now, and I'm still having a little trouble trying to balance it all out. But I think that is, obviously it's a lot of responsibility. It takes a lot of focus. And obviously, you got to have a drive and a passion for it to get up every day and do that, right? Especially for a top tier, team like that. So I think that's like, kudos to you because obviously it probably takes a lot of, time, frustration, and probably some, mental fortitude up there above the shoulder work. Where it's like, oh, I really got to lock in right now and actually like hone in on like these pictures that I'm about to, really, really make sure that they can understand it as well as that you understanding it as well. But for many that don't know, you could have caught Dan usually on the sideline, usually kind of like behind Andy Reid. Obviously there's a couple pictures about a flash right now, but he kind of sometimes you would see him behind him where he looked like his bodyguard. And obviously now they stashed him up away where, he's now in the booth, right? Obviously that picture right there. But, Dan, can you tell us a little bit about how, one, your relationship with Andy Reid, as well as, the ability to kind of bounce ideas off of Andy Reid, off the entire staff, as well as ultimately, Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, I mean, getting an opportunity to work with Coach Reid firsthand, being his assistant for the past 3 seasons prior to this year, was something that I couldn't even dreamed of in my coaching profession because being able to learn from him and the details that are important to him and the culture he brings every day to work, that no matter what we're going to do, we're going to give it our best. We're going to eliminate distractions and create energy with everything we do. And that's with the players in the building. That's with just the coaches when we're going over tape in the offseason. And I think learning that from him has been one of the most special things that I can take from my time here with the Chiefs. And then you take it into what we get to do with Patrick and Kelsey and the rest of these guys we have on offense and defense. I think it's just their grit and determination. You know that they have special skills. Everybody can see that from what they do on Sundays. But the Monday to Saturday preparation that these guys put in, how locked in they are in a practice or on a walkthrough in a meeting, is just second to none. And I think that's what separates them the most.
Wow. I think it's very important to talk about, as you just talked about a little bit, just about the superstar athletes, the preparation they put through Monday through Saturday, because everybody just sees the final output, but nobody understands the real high maintenance and technicality and really high detail these players really are. So it's really important that you said that. And, as a former QB as yourself, Dan, who set many records as at New Jersey as well as Tennessee U, how does it feel? I'm sorry. I'm sorry to skip this. Who's been invited to the Peyton Manning camp and competed with the best of the best. How does it feel to be around Patty Mahomes, a black quarterback who's been so successful in his 6 years in the league?
Yeah, I mean, when I first got here in 2019, seeing Pat coming off of the MVP season and seeing the drive and determination he had just to get back to the final mountaintop the second year, I think was something that stood out to me because this is a guy who has the world on his shoulders. He understands that this game and the way it's flowing is going to be predicated on his performance on Sundays. He's got to play well week in and week out. And he never let it deter him from being himself. He was always the happy guy in the locker room, joking, talking ball with the guys. And he never let the big moments kind of fluster him. And I think that's something that's that has not changed with him the past 6 seasons that he's been here, and the 5 seasons I've been able to work with him. And then from the standpoint of being a D3 quarterback in these ranks and being able to go to the Manning Passing Academy, I think I was able to showcase that even though I was a shorter guy, 5'11" guy, doesn't matter who you are or what you can do. As long as you can spin it, they'll find you, and they'll believe you got talent to make it happen. And I think that's what I showed when I got to that Manning Passing Academy.
Hey man, nah.
Damn, I love boy these people out here.
Yo, I can't lie, y'all.
Nah, Darren Williams was in his bag, bro, and I got to watch a lot of these games first.
Yo, I can't lie. I got mesmerized by the highlights. I low-key forgot we were on the pod for a second. I was sitting there.
Nah, man, I'm really trying to tell y'all, bro, dual threat. Dan really was that. He really was that guy at Timber Creek High School out in New Jersey.
Shout out to Creek.
A billion records, broke Joe Flacco's records. Then he went to Stevenson University and he went even crazier. And I just want everybody to really realize that's a game changer right there. That's a game changer. Not one of these guys that just go out there and like, I can just, I'll take care of the ball. No. When Dan Williams stepped on the field, when 13 was on the field, everybody knew who 1-3 was. Everybody knew who 1-3 was. So in reality, Dan, would you classify yourself as a game changer or a game manager? That's a great question.
Definitely a game changer. Definitely a game changer. I always knew that if the team was counting on me to make the play, we was going to be in good hands. I always felt that way. No matter what was going on, full quarter, down by 7, it didn't matter. I felt if you put it in my hands, we're going to get it done. And I mean, you talk about that 2013 season when I ended up setting the record for most passing yards in the season. Going back on it, it happened so fast that like when you're in it, it's like, oh, like we just got the next game, we got the next opponent. But like looking back on it, bro, that was some crazy.
He was wilding, bro. He was really freaking. Like I remember, I would go to I'd be in high school class, I'd be in math class, and DB, it used to sit next to me. I'm like, bro, y'all not gonna realize what I just saw last Friday night at Timber Creek game. I'm pulling up your huddle, middle of the game, middle of the class, like, yo, bro, you gotta watch this real quick. Showing him I'm like, no, nah, this man really out here spinning the pill crazy. It was definitely something different now. But I definitely had to let everybody know, you're not just some random dude that be in the booth. Nah, you definitely used to get busy too, and I definitely make sure.
I got to give a shout out to DB as well, because I mean, look, the D3 guys can get it done too, man. They say oh, a D2, D3 is not D1, but it's some good ball players out there. And I mean, shoot, bro, Cortland showed it this year, man. When they took down Randolph Macon, which I believe they would in the semis, I thought there was no shot they had in the championship. Hey, they went toe-to-toe with North Central, and I mean, got the job done, bro. Congratulations on that.
Shout out to Zach Boyles. That's a game changer right there. You know, that's a game changer. Absolutely. Shout out to Zach Boyles.
That's awesome. Hey, Dan, I am so glad you brought that up too, because it doesn't limit itself just to football. There's guys that I go to the field with every day, D1, D2, D3, NAIA, JUCO, I promise you, if you're watching, if you're chasing that dream, there's not one way to it. There's many roads that you got to go down, but hey, it don't matter where you go, they'll find you. They will find you if you're good enough. 100%. And kind of speaking to that, you talked a little bit about Patty Mahomes, that passion that those guys, the way we look at it is they're uncommon amongst the uncommon. What are guys like that? You've been around Travis Kelce, you've been around Pat Mahomes, Tyreek Hill. What qualities that they have that kind of take them to that other level of just being able to stand out amongst the standouts?
Yeah, I mean, everybody in the league has talent. Everybody understands that. But it's the preparation during the week. When I talk with Trav during the week and he's explaining me how he's seeing the coverage to be on the same page with Pat, I think that's when I really get the picture of how great this guy really is. Because everybody understands he runs great routes and he can catch the ball and he can make plays after the catch. But the way he's setting up coverage with his inside release or outside release, the way he's adjusting to the way that they're covering him man to man, whether it's Kyle Hamilton in the AFC Championship game or whether it's Fred Warner in the Super Bowl, just the way he understands how he has to fit within the concept to be on time for Pat is, I think, what separates him. And then, I mean, obviously Tyreek has the speed that everybody knows is unmatched in the NFL, but his work ethic throughout the week is something that I was always mesmerized by, because this dude would practice at that same speed on Sunday, on Wednesday in a walkthrough, and he's going 100 miles per hour trying to make sure he's on time so that Pat can see the field and be understanding where, hey, this is where Tyreek's going to be on this go route or this post route. And just with Pat, I think it's his determination during the week is with his work ethic and his time spent. He comes in the morning early, about 6:37 a.m., honestly in there probably within the same hour some coaches get in there because he wants to watch the tape and be ahead of what's coming in the install meetings. So that way when Coach Reed has a question in there, he's right on top of it. He's the first guy answering questions, guy in the front taking up all the notes. It's just the little details that separate Pat from these other quarterbacks.
Wow, man.
Jeez.
I was just saying the other day, I think a mantra I've been going by recently is that details leads to domination. And I think that's really been something that I've really been trying to instill, especially the kids that I coach, people that I come across. But in reality, like you say, it's the little things, bro. Like everybody knows Pat Mahomes can do the behind the back, no look, 360 Jimbo down the field, right? Like everybody knows it, but it really comes down to it, like you said, bro. Like, is he going to go over his reads, right? Is he going to go over certain calls? Is he going to make certain reads, certain options, right? So it's like those little things that may not be able to be taught, or those little things that aren't, you can't read up in a book. It's kind of either just given or you kind of just grow with it and kind of just find it on your way in your journey. And I think that obviously from athletes ourselves, we understand that the little things, right? The stretching, the hydration, the nutrition, stuff like that goes on in your week, that goes on throughout the course of the season. At the end of the day, it's going to make a big difference. So I definitely
absolutely. And I mean, for you coaching the high school kids at Penn Charter, I think that's the biggest thing that can transition them from not only being great in the Pennsylvania high school league, but also trying to get to that college offer is those little details.
Right. 100%.
Now, Dan, I got some Super Bowl questions now because now it's time.
Yep.
So, I was watching the game, the Super Bowl, and I was watching the offense because, the Chiefs have a really very diverse and explosive offense. And I was watching the whole game, and I saw you when you guys were doing the read option. For example, Nick Bosa was following Pacheco the whole time. He was crashing Pacheco the whole game, right? So I saw later in the second half, especially in the third down play, when you guys did that whip option, when you guys did a motion with you crashed Pacheco down, did a whip with I think it was Miko, and then you rolled Patty out, making it a read 3 option, right? So please talk about how diverse and how much detail that goes into practice, because that's a lot that goes into the offense, and that's a lot of plays inside of plays as well too.
Yeah. I mean, Coach Reed does a great job of putting in all these different concepts in the offseason. So these guys are getting flooded with different concepts from April, and then again we come back during training camp in July and August, and then in the season as well. So by the time we ended up calling that last play for the touchdown there, we had practiced that play all season from April. That was the first time I think it worked for us this year. But we've been working on that one all season, and just for it to come out in the Super Bowl was very, very honestly ecstatic for all of us, because we've seen Pat do that play before in prior seasons, but to have it go all the way this year, make it to the last game, and that's when we call it, was wild.
Bro, I think that's just crazy. I really wish that they could have panned up to the booth and seen what was y'all initial reaction when y'all saw it, oh my God, it's about to work. Because there was a video, I think, of Trav Kelsey, right when Trav the play goes off, Trad's barely even looking at him. We already know this ball's about to be complete. He's looking at the scoreboard, just waiting for the score to change. But for y'all seeing that in live action, did y'all kind of have the same reaction to that, or was it just more of we need him to catch it before we can celebrate?
Definitely had to wait for him to catch it this time. But I think once you saw Bosa crash, which he had been doing, as DB pointed out, in majority of that game on last Sunday, once you saw him crash, you kind of knew it was either going to be Pat running it himself or Miko was going to be open. And it just so happened that the corner Travarius ended up attaching to Trav, and Miko was wide open. Right. So you felt it going that way when the play was called, but I mean, seeing it live is still, you get that gasp, almost wow.
It just happened. It just happened.
It just hits different, I bet.
It definitely does.
That's super dope, bro. That is super dope. Yo, wait, time out. That's a Super Bowl question. What'd y'all do after? What'd you do after, Dan? What'd you do after the
game? We went to this club. It was actually at the hotel, Resorts World down the way there, and we went to the club. Luda came out. T Swift came through. It was actually a very fun night. Very fun night.
Nice, though, bro. You definitely deserve that. You definitely
appreciate
it.
That's wild. Dan, I got a question. Just out of curiosity, who's the most famous person in your phone?
Most famous person in my phone. No, I would say taking away the players that I already work with, so I have to talk to them on a regular basis. But I would probably say I was able to meet Paul Rudd, my guy Ant-Man, and what's my guy off Modern Family? God, it's gonna kill me.
Well, the Phil Dunphy guy, or
Not Phil Dunphy. He plays one of the two other characters. Dang.
I never watched Modern Family. I'm not gonna lie.
I know
Great
you
show.
thought
I recommend it, bro. It's
show.
killing me. God, what is it's one of the two guys off Modern Family. Those would probably be the two.
okay,
Shout out to
okay,
Paul
that's
Rudd, man.
dope.
Hey man, I didn't know you had a number. I didn't know that. That's pretty dope. But yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by that. You know, might be in talks later. Might have to call him up real quick.
He had to drop the Marvel on us real quick. It got us real intrigued.
That's dope.
That's good shit.
So Dan, obviously we talked about, you know, your journey through Timber Creek to Stevenson, obviously playing there. And, you know, like you said, it don't matter where you are, they'll find you, right? But obviously there's definitely some undertones of being an underdog. And I know that, you know, obviously in a way, the Chiefs this year, for some reason, they were kind of seen as underdogs. Obviously, you guys had a little dry spell midway through the season, and people were counting y'all out. How did it feel for you personally, obviously, as a D3 quarterback, and trying to obviously compete with other these guys in these showcases and these events and these combines, and you're walking on the field and you're feeling like, all right, man, I might have a target on my back. How did that kind of prepare you in a way for now your profession being an underdog?
Yeah, I think it reminds you that it's all about your fundamentals, who you are as a person, the work you put in day to day, and the hours you spend grinding to get to what your goal is. And I think that for me is what stood out when I went to Manning Passing Academy, when I was there with Jalen Hurts and a couple other big name guys that season in 2018. Just seeing those guys throw it, and then also recognizing that, hey, just because they're D1 doesn't mean I'm that far behind. And then now that I get into the coaching ranks and I'm working my way up the ladder, it's the same thing. It's about the time and effort that I spend putting in to perfect my craft, so that way I can be the most value added person that I can for Coach Nagy and Coach Reed. So that way, when I do get my chance one day, I make sure I make it happen.
That's a great point. And I got to know, Dan, like, obviously you hear the saying, no pressure, no diamonds. I mean, like, high level athletes put high expectations on themselves. So just out of curiosity, I want to know, how do you deal with pressure or expectations differently as a coach than you may have as a player?
Yeah, I think you have to look at it differently, because you're not in there in the huddle getting fired up. You're not making plays like those guys are. So you have to look at it a little differently. I think it comes down to trusting your guys. Number one, you got to trust the players that you have, and then trusting the work you put in during the week. I can't be stressed out on a Sunday because of something I thought about on Tuesday. I've got to find those answers throughout the week and figure out what tendencies will show me to help me break this, and figure out a way for us to be successful on Sunday. So that by the time we get there, I've already given the players all the feedback I possibly can. We've already put in the hard work. So now by Sunday, it's time to just go play and let them have fun. Because at this point, once you get in that way in the season, this is the guy's dream, you know, playing in the NFL. So just let him calm down, be himself, and go show what he's capable of on Sundays. Put in all the extra hard work at the beginning of the week, so that way Sunday can just be free play and just react to what the defense gives you.
Great point, Dan. Great point. Thank you.
No, I definitely see that, because I feel like you said, bro, you kind of have to have a short memory in a way, and like you can't really carry it onto whether in the game, you can't carry it onto the next play. But at the same time, for you, right, like you might have a stressful day at home, stressful day on the job. Obviously, might be in traffic, might be get tight, but you can't actually bring that to the workplace and bring that back home, you know, to your house. So I think definitely finding the ability to really focus on the main thing and really keep yourself obviously level-headed and balanced in everything, aspects of your life, can definitely play out in your profession, in your everyday life. So I definitely appreciate you saying that, bro. That's deep.
Yeah, Coach Reed always preaches next play. You know, he says you might get beat on this play, but the next one I'm coming back 110%. I'm gonna find a way to get you going back the other way. And I think you have to be like that in this profession, because these guys are so good. These are the best athletes in the world. So you got to play the next play.
Yes, Dan. Yes. Thank you. I was excited when he said that. It is not about what happened to you. It's how you react to it. Dude, it's the same thing. Like when I'm on the mound, it's about, can you execute what's in front of you? Can you execute where your feet are right now? If you can't, who gives a shit? Like, it happened. It's in the past. Focus on the next one. If you do, great. Same time. It's in the past. Focus on the next one. Like, just be where your feet are.
No doubt.
Yeah. You know, Dan, every year I make my friend group send us a goals every year, personal and professional goals, as well as like health goals as well too. So I'm just wondering, like, what are your goals for yourself as you keep climbing up the ranks of this offensive side right now? What are your coaching goals right now for yourself?
Yeah, I think short term, in the next 5 years, I'd definitely like to be a quarterback coach in this league. I feel I do have the tools and what it takes to help mold the next great quarterback if that's somewhere else. And I also feel like I have the tools to help bring Pat to another MVP, another Super Bowl trophy. I think that in the long term, I didn't always want to become a head coach. When I first started in this league, I kind of just wanted to get my foot in the door and figure it out later. But I think as I see more and more guys get opportunities, I definitely feel like I have what it takes in this league to build off of this journey that I've been with Kansas City. But I know it's not going to be without hard work and determination. So I've still got to put in the work right now. But I definitely believe that there's a quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, head coach possibility in my future.
It definitely is, bro. You are worth your weight in gold. Something my mom always said. But like you said, I think when obviously being a man of faith, the Lord's going to bring you exactly where you need to be. Not when you want to be, but when you need to be, right? When he sees fit for you to be, execute in the exact manner he needs you to execute it. And I know definitely the work that you're going to put in, that you're going to continue to put in. And obviously, you got the support of everybody around there. You got the support in New Jersey, Stevenson, Kansas City, your whole fam. We all are going to be sitting there rooting there, supporting in you. And, whatever you need from us, obviously, whether it might just be support and prayers, we'll make sure that we have that for you, bro, always.
I appreciate that. Adam, it's crazy you touch on that because I was talking to my wife yesterday, and we always look back on when I got hurt for the second time in 2018 at Stevenson. And I always tell her, like, now, like, that was definitely God's way of saying, hey, I've got bigger things for you. Like, because I know if I didn't get hurt, I still would have kept pushing, trying to figure out the next way possible to keep playing, whether it was overseas, whether it was a practice squad opportunity. I would have kept pushing because I didn't want my career to be done yet. But that was God telling me, hey, it's time to hang it up, bro. You had a good run. Had a good run. You've been blessed, but it's time to hang it up, and I've got better things for you because there's no way I'd be sitting here talking to y'all as a 3-time Super Bowl champion if not for that second knee injury.
Hey, man, let him know.
3 times. Yeah. Dan, also, go ahead, Chooch. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. It's cool. It's cool. We got to deal with this sometimes,
Yeah.
But no, Dan, that's a great way of putting it too, because like sometimes when certain like especially like kind of career ending, like as like we grow up through a sport, the time that we have to hang them up, like sometimes seems like the worst time for us. It seems like like a very like sad time, but like it's like you put it, like sometimes when one door closes, another door opens, and sometimes that can be better than you even imagined. And sometimes it was and it was like essentially that was your path, and that was what you had to go through, even though maybe it might have not all been positive. You end up where you are, and you're proud of that. So that's what matters.
Yeah, I mean, I got hurt in October of 2018. I didn't get my job offer from Coach Reed until April of 2019. So it was about 6 months of kind of questioning, like, why, Lord? Like, why did this happen to me? And then as you go through like that grief and like, okay, like you start overcoming a couple things, you start kind of looking for that answer. Like, okay, like where is this going to turn? How is this going to come in my favor? Because obviously all things work for good for those who believe in the Lord. And when you have that to fall back on, I think is the most important piece.
Dan, I think a lot of people who play football can really understand that, like football is really a game of life. It teaches us really the highs and lows, the ins and outs, really be ourselves. When do we feel out of ourselves, but it also teaches a lot about, just the regiment and also just staying in the game plan and staying focused. So I think it was really important to like, as you see now you transition over to coaching as well, to see like it's not too much has changed from you playing to being a coach. Honestly, just the only thing is playing is just you not putting on the pads, to be honest with you.
Right.
The ground is still the same. Everything else is still the same, if not even more. If not even more, right? So like I think it's really football really teach you really a game of life and really teach you like really that patience, that guidance to that regiment that you need to get you on that right path. And I think it's really important to like the stress as well too, because football put me on that path as well too, and it's been really important. It taught me a lot about myself because you can, as you know, football you do a lot of injuries. Me and you both shared a very amount of injuries, so it teaches you a lot about yourself, and it puts you really in a really dark hole sometimes. So, and it teaches you how to really get out of those holes too, and how to deal with those, and how to make sure you grow yourself to what you are now. So I think it was really big you said that too, Dan.
Absolutely. I mean, you talk about being able to understand how the rest of your life is going to go once you transition out of playing sports, not just football, but the ability to go through that regimen of getting up early, lifting and watching tape and then practice and then doing it all again every day so that you can prepare for Sundays is something that I think takes you into being a good, successful adult once you work in the actual business workplace, because you've got to be locked in throughout the day, but also understand that you've got to be on top of your game as well, in the business aspect. So I think it's definitely important.
No, definitely, bro. And I think you touched on it, man. Like at some point, you always got to hang it up. And, it depends on what you do after that point. I know when I left Rutgers and I was really questioning about what I wanted to do, I remember coming to y'all too, obviously coming to Dan, coming to the chat, like, what am I going to do? How am I going to feel? I'm not the same I used to be. Injuries definitely obviously hampered my career earlier than I wanted it to. And then when I got to, the JUCO Bandit, shout out RCGC, when I got there, I found my love for it again. And, still dealing with some injuries, but I definitely was like, I definitely can still see myself pursuing a future in this. And then COVID hit and it was like, boom, now it's kind of like the injuries of all injuries, it felt like. And, for about 6 months, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do either. I didn't know if I wanted to pick up another baseball bat. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, with my job. And, having people around you that really can kind of keep you grounded. Like you said, you mentioned Ashley. I know obviously Ashley being your wife, you guys been together for, half your life, damn near, right? So it's like, definitely having somebody that you can come to and, kind of help you and kind of, control you, give you advice and, keep you uplifted. Obviously, I got my friends, I got my brothers, so I definitely appreciate that. But that moment right there, those injuries, COVID, it was all a bigger purpose ahead of me. And I said it in a prior episode when I was talking about it. It led me to Delaware State. It led me to my passion. It led me to this right here, this podcast. It led me to my job right now. So, sometimes people out there, they might get thrown a curveball, right? You might get dealt a blitz you don't see coming. At the end of the day, right? It's like how do you regroup? How do you get back up? Go to the next step. How do you get back up? Talk to your people. Let them know we're gonna be all right. And I definitely think a lot of things that we try to instill and express here is about perseverance, about determination, about being relentless. So I definitely am glad that not glad for your injury, but I'm definitely glad that you were able to obviously get back up on your 2 feet and keep your walk in strong, man. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Dan, what are some valuable lessons you learned early? Like you talked a little bit about Andy Reid, a little bit, but some gems he dropped a little bit. But what are some valuable lessons that you learned during your time with the Chiefs?
Yeah, I think one of the first things I learned with him, being his assistant, was how you do anything is how you do everything. And what that means when it looks like we're coach is like how you do the little things like creating his call sheet or even getting his order right when it comes to getting food for him on a late night when we're in there pretty late. It's like those little things. It's like how you do the little details is how you do everything. And that shows up not only on the field and even off the field. And I think that's something that we all can understand being former athletes is that, and Chooch being a present athlete, it's like how you do the little things when you're trying to figure out how am I gonna get this 2-seam grip or how am I gonna get this curveball from left to right. Those type of things matter once you actually get into the real game, and that takes over in your life as well.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you that, and the little things, like it may sound cliche, but they add up and they make a difference. That's why I always say like brick by brick by brick, because like think about it, you start laying them, soon enough you'll look back and be like, look at how much I built. And at the end of the day, that's the difference makers, like you said, for like the guys, like no disrespect to the rest of the NFL, everybody that's up there is extremely talented, but that's what separates certain guys from the NFL to Patrick Mahomes, like you said.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's crazy. I forgot to also mention Dan was a 2-sport athlete at Stevenson as well. He was also the ace on the pitch on the Stevenson baseball team. He was on the pitching staff. So don't want that to be forgotten. Dan really was like a superior athlete.
Like that.
So he really does know he knows baseball and football. So I didn't want that to go unnoticed. It definitely just reminded me of it. And I'll definitely make sure I throw some film up there. That man Dan throwing a good curveball. Boy, he definitely can do it.
Like that.
For sure. But I kind of want to switch gears and pivot a little bit. Dan, we've talked about obviously the highs and the lows. We've talked about the success story. We've talked about the championships being won, the feeling of obviously being around Pat Mahomes, being around guys like that of that nature. But let's get a little more grounded, a little more about the soul. Like I said, I grew up with Dan. I've known Dan since I was, I believe, 5 years old. So I'm 25 now, so I've known Dan for 20 years. Him and my brother were best friends in high school, and stayed all the way up through middle school, elementary school, all that. And obviously got to know Dan very great. His family, Coach Ted, Miss Teresa, Donnie, Daryl, Terry, all of them, Ashley. But Dan, a couple of years ago, I think you had one of your biggest breakthroughs in life, and your daughter Kaya. Can you please just tell us a little bit about how your perspective on life has changed since her birth?
Yeah, she's about 16 months right now. Little walking, talking bundle of joy right now, and it's a blessing to come home to every day. And I think I will say for you guys, obviously not parents yet, you won't really know what it's like to be a parent or what you need to do to be a parent until it's time. There is no crash course. There is no book you can read. It's all trial by fire. You gotta figure it out day by day. Understand you got to learn how to love your partner and love your child, but you're going to learn and grow with them as well. And I think with her, it's just been a bunch of little steps of just taking time to really focus in on her when I can. When I come home from work, work doesn't seem as much of a focus anymore. When I come home, it's more about what does my daughter need? What does my wife need? And I think that's the biggest difference that I've learned in the 16 months she's been alive, is that football can be second to something else. And that is my faith, my family, and then football as well. And I think that what she's taught me the most this season was that no matter what happens on Sundays, she's still going to love me and will want to be with me regardless of what's going on. I can vividly remember after the Christmas game this year, she's running on the field like she's out there scoring a touchdown, just running, having a blast. And it kind of put a smile on my face in the predicament that we were in, because everything that was going on, she didn't care. It didn't matter to her. She was just happy to be out there with her dad and her mom. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I've been blessed with my daughter and my wife.
That's beautiful. You got me to tear up over here, bro. That was beautiful. That was beautiful, man. That was beautiful. And definitely want to shout out Ashley as well. Ashley's Dan's wife. Obviously had the privilege of knowing her, for a lot of years. And, she's been a faithful ride or die, Dan's biggest confidant. So, definitely it takes a village for sure. But obviously definitely takes a strong woman, to back such a strong man. So definitely want to shout out that. And another thing on your family as well. I mentioned Coach Ted. Anybody that knows Dan Williams knows that he is the mini-me. He's the spitting image of Ted Williams. For those that don't know, Coach Ted Williams actually coached with Andy Reid for 20 seasons with the Eagles. So Dan definitely got his stars and stripes running down that field, running down that tunnel. Obviously, looking at guys like Brian Dawkins, Jeremiah Trotter, Sante Samuel, guys like Deshaun Jackson. Dan, can you please just tell us a little insight, or as much as you want, on the impact, the influence, the life tips that you got from your father?
Yeah, so I obviously wouldn't be in this position without my dad and who he was and the hardworking man that he was even before he got to the Eagles in the 90s. But understanding that whenever I talk to my dad, it would never be a conversation of you did this wrong, you did that wrong. It will always be a conversation of, hey, this is what's going on. You can either look at it like this or look at it like this. And he'll give you the pros and cons, and he'll break it down for you. And at the end of the day, you're an adult, you're a grown man. You got to make decisions for yourself and your family. And that was something that he instilled with me when I was even in middle school, because growing up and trying to emulate a guy who coached in the NFL was not always easy. It wasn't always the easiest life to live because he wasn't home all the time. So I was with my mom a lot. But when he was there, he was always honest, and he was always caring and trying to help me become the best man I could become. And one of the biggest things that my dad taught me when he retired and I got into coaching, he said after my first Super Bowl, he said, understand this wasn't easy. He said that you guys got here with a lot of determination and hard work, and that to get to this point is special and enjoy it. And I said, Dad, absolutely. I was there in 01, 02, 03, and 04 when we didn't get it done. So please understand how I enjoy this.
Nah, that's beautiful, bro. That's definitely great to hear that, because we definitely have spoken before, all three of us, about how, how much our parents, how much our village, really has groomed us, really has kept us, protected us, obviously, but as well as, allowed us to kind of walk on our own, allowed us to walk those little steps, like you said, that Kaya does now. And I think it definitely takes, somebody to obviously lay a blueprint out ahead of you of what you want to do, right? Whether it could be a close relative, a father, brother, sister, wife, whatever it is, but somebody's going to lay a blueprint out for you, right? And it's up to you to kind of snatch it and kind of make it your own, and as well as kind of keep blazing ahead. So, I definitely appreciate you sharing about, obviously the impact that your father, Ted, and obviously Miss Teresa, angel sent from above, that's had on your life. And, I think I know they're so proud of you. And obviously the Holland family's proud of you. The entire Culture Church family's proud of you. And we're gonna be here. We're gonna be here when you get another one, man. When you get another one.
I appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate you guys a ton. And I just want to obviously throw a shout out to Rev and Miss Eartha. They've been holding your boy down for a long time now. Even when I didn't want to be parented, they was there to help parent me and guide me on the right path. So I appreciate them a ton, man.
I appreciate that, man.
That's awesome, Dan. And to kind of wrap this up a little bit, we're going to go to our word of the day. And it's nice because we kind of talked a little bit about how you're a parent now, how you're a role model, your parents, the people that have impacted you. So I want to talk about basically who is the greatest coach that you've had in your career and why?
I would have to say my dad. Just from the time spent with him as a young kid playing Area Little League, the honesty that he would give, not only myself, but even the last guy on the bench. He was honest with everybody. He was going to give you to you straight, whether you were going to play a lot or play a little. And he was going to tell you what you need to work on and tell you what you're already good at. And he was going to help you, guide you to figure it out on your own, but also that you could come to him and ask questions and get that help and that feedback. And one thing I can always remember back to when I was a youngster playing for him, and then seeing him coach with the Eagles, was that he would tell me days where he would go into the office, and if a player wasn't understanding why he wasn't in the game or why he wasn't getting as many reps as he felt he should, he would be honest with him. You're not doing this, this, and this, X, Y, and Z. These are the reasons why you're number 2 in the depth chart, or number 1. And it's going to be up to you whether you fix it or not. And when you give it to guys straight like that, whether it's in high school, college, or even in the pros, there's nothing they can do. But understand, okay, it's on me. The coach isn't trying to dog me out or nothing like that. It's all up to me. What I put on the tape and what I put on the field is what's going to show on game day. So I think once you do that and take that into your life and be honest with those around you, I think you're only going to have better relationships and better things going on for you in your life. And I think that honesty is something that I learned from him, and I will definitely take with me as a coach and as a parent.
That's a great point. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Dan. How about you boys over there?
I think it was really my high school coach that I currently coach with now, Tommy Coyle, to be honest with you. The reason why I say that is because what Dan said was the transparency, to be honest with you. Tommy would just tell you straight like it is. If you was bad, you was bad. If you sucked, you sucked. Like, that day, you sucked that day. And like sometimes he would just see like who really wanted it and who really didn't want it. And at the time, I didn't really understand that. But, actually going to college and seeing that next level and seeing guys getting yelled at and stuff and not know how to handle that adversity and stuff, you really understand like how much like Coach Coyle really did for you and really try to instill you like, listen, I'm really preparing you for your future. Like, it's not going to be all everybody's going to be happy just because you're a good player and going to tell you you're doing good all the time. That's not the case ever. So I think he really put that in big perspective for me because like that transparency is something you need. And it's really on the players to see if you're going to be self-motivated or do you need to be motivated by him. And he really lit that fire in me and really lit that fire to me going to football.
Wow. I'm glad. I'm surprised you said that. I'm definitely surprised you said that. Man, Tom, that's my guy. Cole's my guy, so I definitely respect him.
My guy.
I think I have 2 in there for 2 different purposes. My first, I got probably more, but I would definitely probably say it'd have to be Brian Sarney. He was my area Little League baseball coach. Dan knows exactly who he is. He was my coach for districts, sectional states from the age of 8 through 12. And the reason why I chose him first is because he was probably the first person to really teach me about swagger, teach me about kind of really walking with a certain level of confidence. And he was one of the first people to let me know that I'm that dude when it came down to it. He instilled so much confidence, so much passion, and so much, hope in me. And I was like, wow, like, it's crazy. Like, you don't even need to do this right now. You can just literally give me a sign and like be about your day. But like, he made it a point to like really care for me. Let me stay at his house if I needed to. We have practice, let me know. Check on me and my parents, check on me and my brother. Always looking out for us. So he definitely was somebody that I definitely can say kind of instilled that in me at a young age. And then my other one who, I think is the greatest baseball coach in New Jersey history, Joe Barth. Joe Barth truly taught me everything under the sun in terms of baseball and as well in terms of marriage, even though I'm not there yet. They're kind of synonymous. But he really was truly a savant, truly a generational mind in the game of baseball. And he just really kind of your approach and about how you have to really be cutthroat in this game because the game will be cutthroat to you. He really lets you know at the end of the day, like, yes, I'm going to love you, but boy, I'm going to make you cry and you're probably going to want to quit. So unless you're real, this is probably not for you. But he's somebody that I always looked up to in my coaching ability, and that when I coach now in baseball, I try to coach just like him. So, he definitely had a really, really big impact in my life, those two. And, those probably would say the two greatest coaches that I've had.
Wow, that's a great point. And shout out Joe Barth. Timeless.
Crazy.
Timeless.
Crazy man.
Crazy man. Adam, you remember that one tournament in Jupiter we went to? And this man had us going on like 5-mile runs in between games.
No, we had a game. We had a game. Our first game was at like 11:30. Next game was at 4, and we won like 9-3. And he was upset by the way we won. So he made us stand around. He made us stand around in the middle of the entire venue, mind you, like college coaches, pro scouts, families walking around us. We're in the middle of the entire complex doing burpees, jumping jacks, squats, skaters, sprints. Like we just sitting like, mind you, like 100-degree weather, by the way. We all sitting there like, yo, are you serious? He finally finished. He goes, all right, let's win the next game. I mean, we're gassed. We definitely won the next game like 12-0. But I was like, dude, he always had a method to his madness, man. It was crazy. It was crazy.
I just remember Sammy Fuller. Shout out Sammy Fuller, Angels legend. He took us on Joe was like, take him on a run, and because he was the only pitcher that had like that wasn't like a guest pitcher from somewhere in the country, and he took us on a run, and we were just going all around Jupiter. We might as well would have gone around the real Jupiter. but anyway, back to topic. To finish up, I got to give a shout out to Justin Hanley, who is my favorite coach that I have ever had. And there's two big reasons why. And one is that he knew what I could be if he pushed me. And so he knew to push me, and he knew that I can take people pushing me to another level. I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to try and go with it. And so that he almost instilled like another level that he could get out of me. Sometimes when he would just come out to the mound, if I was having an off day or something, he's like I can't repeat some of the things he would say, but he'd get on me. And once he left that mound, I was locked the rest of the game. So there was that part too. And also, I think one thing we love talking about the ways to get through, the ways to prosper from adversity. But first, you have to be there. And when I was at my lowest of the lows, Hanley was always there. When I got my scholarship taken from Miami, Hanley was there. When I almost thought about quitting, I don't know how many times at this point, but he was always there because, man, life's going to take you for a ride. But, I mean, if you have the right people in your corner to support you when it feels like no one's there, then there's nothing that you can do to ever lose, So
definitely, man. Definitely shout out Hanley, man. That's my guy.
Shout out Hanley.
We're supposed to see him right in the corner, baby.
Shout out the whole Hanley family.
Definitely.
But with that, we would just like to give a shout out to Dan as well. Thank you, Dan. Wrap it up.
Yo, Dan, before we go.
Oh yeah, definitely. Big one.
3-peat question mark?
We're gonna do everything we can in our power to make sure it happens.
Oh my god!
That's the front office answer. That's the front office answer.
That's the media train
Start giving the media train answer. That's the front answer
answer.
office. Come on now. You're not front office.
Come on, man.
Come on.
I respect it, bro.
Go to church. Come on.
I respect it.
Bro acted like Stephen A. asked him that question.
No, I respect it.
I definitely get it, man. Hey, man. I respect it. You gotta keep your job. Come on, bro.
Yeah. No, but Dan, good luck though, Dan. Going into this next season, because I know this season's a quick turnover. A lot of people don't know it's a really quick turnover. Going into this next season already that you guys are starting. Already. So good luck. I hope you're getting rested, Dan. And good luck on this next season if we don't talk again. You got my support and all of ours here as well too. So.
For sure, bro.
DB, Adam, Chooch, appreciate you guys, man. It's an absolute pleasure to talk with y'all today. Keep doing what y'all doing, man. Chooch, best of luck down there, man. Do your thing. And I look forward to watching more videos going forward, fellas.
Thanks, Dan.
Sounds good, man. Y'all enjoy y'all night, man.
Yes, sir.
Glad y'all tuned in for another episode of Culture Church. And like you said, from the culture, enjoy y'all night. All right, we got.
Hey, appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all a ton, man.
Definitely appreciate you, bro. Drop some gems and wisdom. That honestly probably was my favorite episode so far. I'm not even gonna cap. I feel like that was
Easily.
probably one of the most seamless episodes we had. Like
Yeah.
everything really worked to perfection. Like every video was right where it was. Everything kind of just looked out great. We didn't have no like moments back here. We were like, oh shit, like we messed up. Like, nah, bro, we definitely appreciate you, man. And,
Bro,
That shit
and
was
hey, look,
money.
I gotta tell you, I talked to my wife today. The way y'all are setting this up, like this app is tough. The way y'all got the questions laid out, bro, y'all are doing a hell of a job. Keep that up, man. Keep that up a ton.
Thank you.
appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you, bro.
Definitely appreciate
Appreciate
you,
it,
bro.
bro.
But hey, man, you go home. You stay home. Tell everybody I said hello as well. Obviously, give Kai a big hug from us. And like I said, you got to definitely be in touch. I think the episode's gonna drop what, Saturday, probably.
Saturday. So like around 7:30 your time.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Nah, definitely, bro.
All right, fellas.